This is a real good question. Shaun Alexander, the Seattle Seahawks. Why is he not is he Hall of Fame worthy or not? Now he won the league MVP in 2005. 28 touchdowns, 1958 yards. Great year. But some people think it was because of Walter Jones and that offensive line of the Seahawks why they thought he did so well. Because he went to Washington and he didn't really make an impact. He's one of those guys that if you talk to some people in the Seattle area, they got more respect for Curtis Warren, or they got more respect for Marshawn Lynch. Even though Shaun Alexander had a year for the ages, he doesn't really hit. He had 100 career touchdowns, but he doesn't hit in the debate amongst even the best Seahawk running backs, even though he hit in league MVP. How does that can that work? And can that be true? It's interesting too, because I had a buddy who was a big fan of Shaun Alexander. He used to run that in my face about how he got the MVP. And I said, yeah, but what he do in Washington, it's like a flash in the pan. And everyone said that offensive line of Seattle. Now, you can say the case for offensive lines helping many running backs. Nowadays, they literally throw the quarterbacks over the goal line, a.k.a. Jalen Hurt. You know, the push, the pull, however you want to call it. But sooner or later, if you're a respectable back, great as your line is, I don't get that sense when I saw Saquon Barkley get his 2,000 that I would sit there and have said that he couldn't hold his own. No one questioned that. You know, great running backs that I saw, as great as the electric company was for O.J. Simpson, O.J. still was an incredible back. So it wasn't like a case like, oh, that was the case. Or Eric Dickerson with the Rams, you know, when he broke O.J.'s record. You just have to understand the totality that as a back, if you're in rare fair company, you're going to have to be accountable. And when it shows that there is not much to your game, then it becomes systematic. So then somewheres along the line, or Shaun Alexander, kind of like Rich Gannon was with the Raiders, or even Steve Nash with the Phoenix Suns, a guy who had an out of body and blew up. It's an interesting debate where he had his NFL MVP season. And it's interesting too, because the question is he even one of the best backs of that era? He had an incredible run, but then you start to kind of look at the totality and he kind of gets forgotten. And it's almost like it felt like a fluke. So Shaun Alexander, is he a Hall of Famer in the NFL? People are not. He's been on the ballot 9 times, many times. He's not getting in. You know, so it's like, what's your criteria? Because then if you win a league MVP, does that necessarily mean that you are Hall of Fame bound? And I think this is an interesting situation, especially for running backs. And now, as time has gone on, running backs are starting to get some love this past year. Obviously,